What's good, Defenders Nation, black and gold faithful? It's the night before a match, so you know what that means. It's time for one more sleep, and this time one more sleep gets Sandy because we're headed up to Sandy, Utah for Real Salt Lake against LAFC. You might have forgotten what my voice sounds like. Been in Boston, mean streets of Boston for the last 5 days or so with my sixth grade. It's the Scarf, J.R. Liebert, and right next to me on the interwebs in world-famous Philomonster Studios is the ferocious one Christian, Philemon.
I'm sorry. Who are you again? I don't recognize you. In fact, I don't even remember who you are. You're not Nina. You're not Panda. You're not an Angel City chick, but you are the Scarf. My friend, even though it's been less than a week since we last really saw each other, it feels like it's been an eternity, but I want you to know that we held things down. The girls took care of business. And one would argue they really took care of business because I've seen a lot of positive things along the lines of how this last episode of Defenders of the Bank was some people's favorites. And I would venture to say, because it had to be, it was all about Panda and Nina. They did a tremendous job on this. Once again, they hop onto one of our episodes and the numbers shoot through the roof. The numbers on YouTube are okay. We're just building it, but the numbers on Buzzsprout are fantastic. Anytime these girls hop on our show, our numbers hit really good records and whatnot. So not saying that there's a demand for them to be on all the time, but I know they'd be far more successful on Defenders of the Bank than we would be on Angel City Chicks.
Yeah, that's for sure. Look, we have been faithful followers of Angel City since day one, but something about the Angel City Chicks just seems to resonate a little bit more here on Defenders of the Bank. Philly, we are headed up to Sandy, Utah, a place where, we have a reasonable amount of success. This is not a good Real Salt Lake team that we are headed up to play, although we don't really know who's going to be on the roster, who's going to be healthy, who's going to be ready to go. But the one thing we do know, it doesn't matter who Steve Cherundolo coaches anymore. LAFC just finds a way to get it done. I mean, it was 1:35 in the morning in Boston as Eldin Jakupovic was both scoring PKs and blocking PKs. I mean, come on, talk about a moment in the sun for the old man. It was awesome to see that. And it just shows it's not just the players. It's the system. It's Dolo ball from the top all the way through LAFC 2 and the academy. And I can't wait to see what we do to real Salty Lake.
Absolutely. For a change, we're going to go into a game somewhat well rested. I mean, there's been every 3 games or so, another game. And so Steve took a gamble letting the young boys play, but that gamble paid off in such an exponential way. Venture to say that that's going to be one of the most important games in LAFC history because it shows how far the academy has come and how the system truly does work when you have the proper personnel in there. And Eldin was just, as Steve referred to him, an old fox, which Eldon's fine with being called the fox. I don't know if he took too kindly to the term old. But going in RSL, we're going to be fresh. They're going to be a little tired because they gave it their all against the Portland Timbers in their previous round of the U.S. Open Cup, winning by a score of 4-3. And they're in our bracket, about to face the Colorado Rapids. We're going to face the LA Galaxy.
Shocker.
Tell me, yeah, exactly. Shocking. God forbid LAFC went on the road to Colorado because the U.S. Soccer Committee and USOC Committee wouldn't have taken too kindly with that. But Scarf, while we think of RSL being a club that's given us problems, in reality, they haven't. This is going to be the 14th time these two teams have met. And believe it or not, LAFC has only lost twice to this team. And the last time would have been in October of 2020.
Yeah, look, the real issue, Philly, is that you and I were making plans in 2018, damn it. And that's the loss that still stings more than anything else. We got cry-locked. It was our only own goal of the entire first season. Just all kinds of things happen. I just have that taste in my mouth still from playoffs 2018. Oh, what could have been. And look, I know Demir is apparently still on the team, but not many other holdovers from that 2018 team, much like the black and gold that will be headed up to Sandy, Utah. But no, this is a club that LAFC has had a great deal of success against over the course of our now 6 years in Major League Soccer. And it's a place where I'm jealous, man. I haven't been able to get up to Sandy, Utah for a match yet. So I obviously I won't be able to do it this year. This is our only shot. But next year, I never thought I'd say this, but Sandy, Utah, one of my destinations of choice for an away game.
Yeah, why not? I mean, at the end of the day, with what we're doing and our love for this team in Major League Soccer, there's no reason that between now and at least a decade from now, we don't check off every single stadium to visit. And hopefully we continue to get paid to do some cool things like that. I'd like to get out there as much as the next person would. I know Los Angeles isn't exactly well received anywhere we travel because, well, we're the best. And that's all I have to say about that. Scarf,
yes, sir.
RSL. This team, and I'm going to put words that I know together, and if somebody wants to correct me on this, I'm more than happy because I'm trying to learn. RSL, the first few 4 or 5 games of the season, they, with the exception of the opening game win against Vancouver, they played like, mierda del perro, like dog poop. I think I said it right. I hope I said it right.
Yeah, I'm going to be the last to correct you on Spanish, but look,
Mierda del perro. I don't know. I'm trying here. I'm trying.
This is a club that got blown out by a very good St. Louis team 4-0 and a very bad Columbus team 4-0. They've figured out a way. I think the Open Cup has kind of helped them right their ship. You mentioned it. They are in our bracket and still alive, beating up on Las Vegas Lights 3-1 before beating up on Portland 4-3, and then Portland beat up on them. Those are two teams that are just not very good, though. But if we look back at their last 2 MLS games, we're talking 0-0 draws. This is a team that had trouble scoring against Houston, trouble scoring against Seattle, and I think they're going to have a lot of trouble scoring against us. And I'll say this. I thought when I saw Zach McMath playing a MLS game in 2020, maybe it was 2021, that he was one of the worst keepers that I have ever seen don a professional uniform in Major League Soccer. Last year, he played out of his mind, kept RSL in a lot of games. And what I think we're seeing this year is that regression back to the norm for one Zach McMath. Not a very good season in terms of keeping balls out of the back of net. That's his only job. So I am loving LAFC's chances in this match.
I mean, you mentioned 2 games with 0-0. Look, out of the 10 games that RSL's played this season, they failed to score in 5 of them. That's 50% of the time they score. None of the time, but their run of form has been a lot better lately. I mean, in their last 5, they've only lost 1. They got a couple of clean sheets. They're playing a bit better. Danny Musovski, somebody who you're going to talk about, somebody who we love from his time at LAFC, is healthy, and they've got a pretty team that Pablo Mastroeni, who by the way is a very good coach within his own right, has finally started to turn things around, and obviously going up against the defending MLS Cup champions. A team that's going to be heading to the finals of the CONCACAF Champions League. Like we've said time in and time before, every time LAFC comes into town, it's the MLS Cup for that home team. It is. We're the best team, and for anybody who wants to say we've turned our season around or we're a much improved team, to knock off the defending champs is always a good storyline. So every team's going to go out there and give it their all against LAFC. And LAFC, while they have bigger, more important things on the horizon, still want to go through MLS regular season with as few blemishes as possible.
Yeah, look, we have kind of honed our sights, obviously, on the CONCACAF Champions League. And after that, I think we'll be honing our sights on defending both the Supporters Shield and MLS Cup. All due respect to everybody wanting us to also go full guns ablazing on the U.S. Open Cup. That's just not 100% where I lie on all of that. This is a club, as you mentioned, Philly. They've played, 10 matches on the season, if I remember correctly, have 3 whole wins. So not a great team on the road, not a great team at home, a -7 goal differential. And here now, you have the defending champs coming in with our +9 goal differential, our solid record on the road. Granted, we've had 3 draws this season on the road, but we're getting it done wherever we need to, be it Monterey Bay or anywhere else. And again, this is a team that I'm fairly confident that we'll be able to dispatch in no short order.
I would say confidence breeds upon confidence. And again, their run of form has been pretty good lately. So they're going to give it all they got. History has a tendency to repeat itself. And one thing we can say for certain, in 2018, LAFC gave Real Salt Lake their worst beating at home in franchise history. Can history repeat itself? We will find out, but with a well-rested team and an on-fire Denis Bouanga, I'd say we've got a pretty darn good shot. And that being the case, would you say it's about time to go into your players to watch?
Yeah, absolutely. I
All right, let's see
can't
if this
wait.
works. Producer McPandas is not around. Unfortunately, her grandmother passed away on Tuesday, so she's currently in Madisonville, Kentucky. Rest in peace to Shirley Martin. Nothing but love. You want to hear a crazy story?
Sure.
Amanda's grandmother, 89 years old, tough as nails. I mean, unfortunately, her health declined rapidly, but she was fine for the most part. 19-year-old dachshund named Ernie passed away the same day.
Jeez.
I think that's the craziest thing ever because one always is concerned about the well-being of somebody's beloved pet, but talk about a love story between owner and pet, Ernie and Shirley, just beautiful stuff. Nothing but love. Rest in peace. So, all right, let me see.
That's a smooth segue to my players to watch. Thanks, Philly.
Sorry.
Appreciate that. There we go. He's got it working with Panda not here right now. Let's see. We got our players to watch. Look, I'm excited to see Carlos Vela in Real Salt Lake territory. I think Carlos is always obviously one of the bigger draws. Plus, I had a feeling Philly would pick Denis Bouanga, so I got out of the way on that one. Look, I am excited to see Carlos Vela start to really move the ball around for this club in all the right ways. He's got a little stuck in the last couple of games with the ball in the box, in and around the box, looked a little indecisive. And I think he's gone back into the film room, gone back and watched the tape from these last couple of matches. And I think we are really going to see the best game that Carlos Vela has had in quite a while. He has just not looked like he's been in fantastic form over the last couple that he's played in. And look, we talked about this before. When we did this for 110 football, and hopefully we'll be able to do this again for 110 football if they can ever bring things back, it was all about who do we think will be the best fantasy performers. That's not how I pick these. The way that I, the Scarf, picks my players to watch is who do I want to watch when I sit my butt down in my seat. And being the LAFC faithful fan and the supporter that I am, I want to watch Danny Musovski. I miss that guy. He's the guy who you and I, Philly, have come to know and love and really miss as a part of this club. He gave 111% every time he was out there on the pitch for us. So you know what? If I'm paying my ticket to go see LAFC against Real Salt Lake and you're telling me there's a healthy moose on the loose somewhere, I am ready to watch Danny Musovski.
I like it. Not 110, 111, so an extra basis point above. Not to mention we miss chatting with his brother Oliver. Oliver Musovski always is nice commenting on our scenario. And by the way, Danny did score in that game against Portland, so he's feeling things.
Yep.
As far as my players to watch, hopefully I could get this right. Oh, baby, I got my players to watch. You talk about wanting to pay money, the price of admission to see some outstanding players. The players to watch on both sides of the pitch are as follows. For really salty Lake, you got Jefferson Savarino. The man leads the team in goals scored and assists. He's obviously the beer that goes in the Boilermaker, the straw that goes in the soda, the fizz that goes in the Topo Chico. He's the main man on this team. Obviously, we've got Damir Krylock, who has scored more goals against LAFC than any other RSL player, but Jefferson Savarino's having himself a season. So as of now, he's the Titan to watch on Real Salt Lake. And as far as LAFC is concerned, look, man, 14 goals through 15 matches. You want to see that streak continue on. So obviously, I'm talking about Denis Bouanga. And here's another crazy stat for you. In the course of 15 matches, only 2 players have ever scored more than Denis Bouanga at this point. That would be 2017 Atlanta United Joseph Martinez and 2019 LAFC Carlos Vela. Denis Bouanga is in some almost uncharted territories as far as performance is concerned, and he's having a hell of the year, MLS Golden Boot leader for the time being.
Yeah, look, I just don't think this is going to be a good matchup for Salt Lake. Last 3 times we played them at home, I believe it's a 8-2 aggregate score, 4-1 last year, our game against them in Sandy. So things not looking good. But you know what? Philly, you say we don't talk a lot of X's and O's. We talk some X's and O's. We definitely talk keys to the match, things that the millions
and millions
should be looking out for in each and every one of these games. I'm going to go ahead and pick the low-hanging fruit here. Stay healthy. I don't need 2 keys to the match. I don't need to break anything down or give you any pearls of wisdom on what best to do out of a 4-3-3 or a 4-4-2 or any other thing that we'll run every now and then. I don't need to talk to you about if there should be certain players starting, certain players sitting, when to bring people in. What I am focused on, and I know we have plenty of matches until then, but what I am focused on is a May 31st date down in Leon, and then right around the corner, the home date here against Leon for the CONCACAF Champions League title. I'm sorry, but between now and then, we play to win, we play hard, but goal number one is to stay healthy. We've already seen what it looks like on the back line with Murillo and Chiellini both hurt. We've already seen other players pick up a knock throughout the season, and we know what happens if a player like Carlos Vela goes down and gets hurt. We've seen that time and time again. All I care about heading into this match, because we're more talented, we have the better run of form. We have Carlos Vela and Denny Bawanga, and they are both healthy right now. I'm not worried about anything else except stay healthy and don't get injured.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you very much. And you know how we end all things on one. No, I couldn't have said it better myself. In fact, you get an applause.
Hey.
Take a bow. Take a bow.
Yeah, I got to earn my spot back after Nina and Panda. Jeez.
Yeah. You definitely do. Maybe if you dye your hair blonde, that'll work.
Hey, listen, it
or
used
like
to be
chestnut reddish brown that Nina has.
It used to be blonde. Now it's just pretty much gray.
No, we'll call it Clooney. Let's just refer to it as Clooney.
Thank you.
Hey, that's a compliment.
I'll
All right,
take
so that scarf's keys to the game. Mine, because I like, to do things a little more. I've got two, and I've got control possession. Now, we are the better rested team, but let's face facts. Elevation is going to be a factor in this game. That goes without saying. The players in Sandy, Utah are already comfortable with these conditions. LAFC hasn't played in the elevation as much, and they're not obviously used to it. So they don't want to overexert themselves by constantly having to run and chase on the counter. If they could control possession and dictate the game, that would bode well for them in terms of just maintaining that fitness and maintaining that, avoiding that fatigue, that mental and physical fatigue, which plagued them in Santa Clara in that matchup against the San Jose Earthquakes. Still a crazy game, man. I mean, if you go back to it, LAFC dominated possession. They played well. It's just two lapses in judgment led to those goals by Christian Espinosa. It is what it is. And considering the fact that Real Salt Lake has had a couple of clean sheets lately, they're a little confident that their defense has gotten a bit better and McMahon's playing a little better. We score early and just take that momentum away. That's a good, quick punch to the face that's going to rattle Pablo Mastroianni's team and help LAFC go into Sandy, Utah, and walk out with 3 points.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Look, it's the Mike Tyson quote, right? Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. Well, that has to be what LAFC needs to do here, because here's the other key part about that, Philly. If we do score early, maybe we even get too early, then what we can do is at the 60th minute or 75th minute, start getting some of those bodies out of there so we can stay healthy, because that's all that matters until May 31st. I can't wait. I love it. Controlling possession, which we've done our last couple of matches, played very well. Scoring early, I love it.
Minus Monterey Bay.
Yeah, I mean, look, that's an outlier in every shape, way, form, sense of the word, whatever you got. I don't think I've ever been prouder, other than definitely MLS Cup final and the Leon game where we came back at home and had to win 3-0 and did. I think those are the only two matches that I was ever prouder of my club, or just as proud of my club. Watching those kids, when they scored in the 90th minute, Simon Dawkins, I was calling you all kinds of stuff from my room in Boston. The dude is like the most veteran presence there, right? He's played up and down in England and all kinds of other places, and they bring on the grizzled old veteran, and sure, 90th minute. Guy's barely played this season for Monterey Bay, and he finds the equalizer, and I was like, oh, that's going to break him. And then they scored again in the 93rd or 94th minute. I was like, well, all right, let's see. I don't know. Maybe these kids. And when we score, I lost my mind.
Yep.
And then you know what? The young kids got us to that point. The old man did what he had to do. Eldon, you
Don't
kooky
call
bitch.
Eldon old. He doesn't like that. You know he listens to us.
Listen,
I love Eldon.
I mean it as compared to the 8 teenagers that we started and the 2 more teenagers I think that we subbed on into the match. And by the way, I know this is one more sleep for Real Salt Lake. Brian Moyato is from my hometown, Torrance, California. I could not be more excited to watch that kid play. And holy crap, Nathan Ordaz. Anyways.
Yeah, real quick, if you took Eldon, Noah, and Abraham Romero out of the equation, because you've got a 35-year-old, a 25-year-old, and a 23-year-old respectively, I think I did the math. The average age with those 3 out was 18.5 years of age, which is insane, and they whooped up on a veteran team. I can only imagine the storyline if the Galaxy in the U.S. Open Cup game puts in their big guns and lose to the young LAFC players. And I'll tell you what, Seattle put in their young guns against the Galaxy the last game, and they gave them a run. I didn't think the Galaxy looked particularly good against a very young Seattle Sounders lineup, but, we'll see.
You and I were watching that Seattle Sounders. This is not an actual podcast. This is One More Sleep. But either way, Philly and I haven't seen each other in like a week. This is what you get, people. You and I were watching that San Diego Loyal Seattle Sounders game where they had all the young kids, and it wound up being, wasn't it like Freddie Montero or something, like the grizzled veteran?
The only veteran.
That got them out of that. So anyways, speaking of scores, let's get to our scoring predictions. You mentioned it. I mentioned it. We both mentioned it. They're having a hard time scoring up there in Sandy, Utah. That's going to continue for sure. It's going to be 2-0, 2-0 LAFC. And I'm going to say that Philly's prediction comes absolutely true, that we do score early. I'm going to call it hopefully, and I don't mind being wrong about this, but hopefully a snooze fest in the second half. I say we go into halftime uncharacteristically up 2-0, and we hold on. We ride it out. 2-0 LAFC.
I'd like it. I'd love to see another clean sheet for LAFC. Although, going back to what I said earlier on, how anytime LAFC rolls into town, it's the home team's MLS Cup. I'm sticking with that. So my scoring line is still going to be an LAFC victory, but I do think that the boys from Sandy, Utah manage to get themselves a goal, albeit not a goal that matters, because I think LAFC whoops Salty Lake 3-1. No more things to say other than yes.
Yes, sir. Look, I think this match is hopefully going to be one of those that we put our 3 points in our pocket on the road, head back home, and then continue our focus on the many, many different cups and tournaments and trophies and everything that we're trying to do here in this club. We obviously had a little bit of a hiccup against San Jose, but either way, I think this has been and will continue to be a historic season. And I'm excited, man. We also have an Angel City game on at the exact same time. Philly and I have to figure out our plans for that. So
no figuring out. LAFC takes precedence over Angel City.
No
disrespect to any y'all, but
I hear you. We got to figure out what we're doing. So we'll see how that all goes.
Watch party.
Either way, look, it's been fun to be back, man. It's good. It's good to be home. It's good to be behind the world famous scarf wall here in Lawndale, California. And it's good talking to you, bud. I missed you.
I missed you too, man. It was it's not very often that I go this many days without conversing with you or seeing you in those beautiful Clooney locks. Let's put it this way. I thought it was really funny how Nina was just like referenced herself as the mouth of the South Bay. So you might have to have a conversation with her about that. But Panda's the blonde-haired flamingo. Again, I just have to give a big shout out to the Angel City Chicks. Fantastic cameo. And for those that really want to continue on with their journey, follow them on their own podcast, Angel City Chicks, because they do a phenomenal job on that as well. So make sure you check them out. Scarf will be hanging out in less than 24 hours. It's going to be good to see you. And we've got all kinds of fun stuff coming up, even with a game on Wednesday against Sporting Kansas City. Life is good here in Los Angeles and in Black and Gold land. And I have nothing but good stuff to say.
And now we get to hear our cool guitar outro. Here we go.
Yeah, hold on. Somebody wanted to see us playing air guitar. So we got to, play a little bit of air guitar if you want to like air drum. Don't you have any drumsticks? You should have drumsticks. I need to give you drumsticks.
I don't.
But anyway, one more sleep. We out.